Heaven waited until you were alone tonight to finally tell you the truth about them. My beloved child, Heaven speaks gently tonight because your heart is tired of pretending it's fine. The Archangel stands beside you now, and his light touches the places that still ache when you remember their name. You have carried silence like armor, smiling through days that no longer fit. Heaven saw it all. The truth is simple but hard to face. Not everyone who walked with you was meant to stay. Some came only to teach, some to test, and a few to remind you that even kindness must have boundaries. The divine allowed them close so you could learn the difference between affection and alignment. Their words once sounded sweet, but Heaven saw the weight behind them, the quiet competition, the subtle control, the way they tried to shape your light to fit their comfort. You didn't lose them because you failed, you lost them because your growth outgrew their control. That distance that suddenly appeared wasn't betrayal, it was Heaven creating breathing space for your soul. Every unanswered call, every plan that mysteriously fell apart, was an invisible protection. You thought you were being rejected, but you were being redirected. The Archangel whispers, you were not forgotten, you were filtered. And now that you can finally hear without noise, Heaven can speak plainly. They were never the center of your story, they were a chapter. A necessary one. Without them, you would still believe love means exhaustion, loyalty means silence, and peace must always be earned. You learned the hardest way that real love never demands you to shrink. Child, release the need to make them understand. Some hearts are too full of themselves to recognize sincerity. Heaven says, do not return to explain what your absence already explains. Let time do the talking. Truth doesn't chase, it reveals. Now, look at how far you've come. You sleep differently, breathe easier, and no longer rush to fix what breaks itself. That is progress hidden in plain sight. Even your quiet moments are evidence that healing has begun. The same silence that once hurt you has become holy ground. You no longer wait for their apology, you bless them from afar and move forward. That's what Heaven calls maturity. The Archangel shows you a vision, a tree standing alone on a hill after a storm. Its branches are scarred, but its roots are deeper than before. That tree is you. Every gust that tried to uproot you only pushed you deeper into truth. Now, even the wind serves your stability. Heaven says, they will think you forgot them, but you simply forgave them first. And forgiveness doesn't mean return, it means release. You are no longer tied to their opinion, their energy, or their absence. You have become your own peace. Tonight, Heaven reveals another truth. They are watching your calm and feeling the loss of your presence. Not as punishment, but as realization. The light they once dismissed now exposes their own shadows. Let that be their lesson. Yours is freedom. My beloved child, Heaven speaks again tonight. The air around you is still, and that stillness is not empty, it's sacred. It's the quiet moment where truth begins to breathe. For days you've been feeling strange, haven't you? That sense that something invisible is shifting, that the peace you've been asking for is close enough to touch but still just out of reach. The Archangel says that is not confusion, it's alignment. Heaven is moving pieces behind the curtain, positioning truth where lies once sat, placing light where shadows tried to hide. They kept things from you, my child. They smiled in your face but sighed at your progress. They were friendly in words but distant in spirit. Heaven watched you try to keep peace with people who were secretly competing with your peace. You never spoke ill of them, not once, but still they painted you as the problem because your calm exposed their chaos. But tonight, Heaven says the season of pretending is over. The truth is no longer in hiding, it's in motion. When you couldn't see, Heaven did. Every whispered plan, every twisted version of your name, every conversation where you were reduced to a rumor, Heaven recorded it. And Heaven waited. Not because it didn't care, but because it wanted you to see how much strength you carried even when you didn't defend yourself. The Archangel whispers, the silence that hurt you became the stage for your vindication. Child, the reason Heaven didn't reveal this earlier is because pain has to finish teaching before justice can begin speaking. If truth had come too soon, your heart would have forgiven without learning. You would have returned out of pity, and your peace would have been lost again. That's why Heaven waited until now, until you could hear the truth without bitterness, until you could see betrayal and not feel broken. That's spiritual maturity, and Heaven honors it. They did what they did, yes, but what they didn't know is that every attempt to limit you expanded you. Every word that tried to shrink your worth pushed you deeper into purpose. While they were gossiping, Heaven was gathering. While they were mocking, Heaven was multiplying. The Archangel says, you lost nothing, you simply learned who never deserved access to your blessing. Think back, my child. The opportunities that fell apart, the friendships that dissolved overnight, the silence that replaced support, all of it aligned perfectly with protection. That job that didn't call you back was a trap in disguise. That relationship that ended suddenly would have drained your destiny. You cried because you thought you lost something stable, but Heaven was saving you from something that would have poisoned your peace. The divine works like this. It removes people quietly, but the results are loud later. Months from now, you'll see something, a photo, a post, a name, and your spirit will whisper, "Thank you, God, for removing me in time." That moment will prove Heaven never punished you, it protected you with precision. The Archangel continues, his voice calm but strong, what's coming next will not require you to chase or prove. The truth will meet you halfway. Already, people are beginning to see through false faces. The same individuals who once doubted you are now questioning the ones who spoke against you. The energy is reversing. Words are returning to their source. You won't have to expose anyone, life itself will do the unveiling. Heaven says, your peace is your protest. Your growth is your revenge. Keep walking quietly, the louder you live, the smaller their lies will sound. The Archangel assures you that truth never rushes, it arrives when the noise has tired itself out. That's why tonight, in the middle of this stillness, you can finally feel the shift. That isn't anxiety, that's release. Now, listen carefully, child. The truth Heaven wants you to understand most of all is this: they were never the author of your peace. They could delay it, distract it, distort it, but they could not destroy it. Your peace was written by Heaven, not people. And what Heaven writes cannot be erased by human hands. That's why everything they did failed. That's why the plan didn't work. That's why, even when you thought you were broken, you still stood. The Archangel kneels beside you now. He places a hand over your heart and says, "You kept giving them chances because you saw potential, not patterns." But patterns reveal truth faster than apologies. Stop replaying what you should have said or done. Heaven is not asking you to rewrite the past, it's asking you to recognize it. That's where the healing starts, not in regret, but in realization. You are being lifted from the cycle that once defined your peace. No more returning to half love, half trust, half truth. The next season of your life will not tolerate halves, it will demand wholeness. That's why heaven isolated you, not to punish, but to rebuild you. The solitude you feared has become your sanctuary. You thought you were being left behind, but heaven was bringing you ahead quietly, one divine detour at a time. Child, your sensitivity is not weakness, it's radar. It feels pain before danger, it detects lies before proof. Heaven gave you that gift, not to burden you, but to protect you from emotional fraud. You sense things others ignore because you are chosen to see through illusion. Don't let anyone shame you for that. The Archangel says, your discernment is sacred, not dramatic. Heaven knows you tried your best to love purely, to keep peace even when it hurt, to hold on when others let go easily. But love is not supposed to destroy you to prove itself. Real love nurtures your peace, false love negotiates it. That's the truth heaven waited for you to accept. Now that you know it, everything changes. You will see signs in the coming days, coincidences that feel too exact to ignore. A name repeating, a dream that brings clarity, a conversation overheard that confirms what your intuition already knew. Those are not random, those are revelations. Heaven communicates through alignment once you stop doubting your own knowing. And as you sit there tonight, reading these words, your angels are already moving. They are rearranging timelines, sealing old wounds, and redirecting blessings. You are stepping into a phase where peace comes without explanation. Where joy doesn't depend on people's approval. Where truth feels lighter than silence. Heaven says, you have outgrown the noise. Let silence celebrate you now. The Archangel's light fills the room softly, wrapping around you like warmth that cannot be described. He doesn't speak for a moment, just lets you breathe. The quiet itself feels holy. Then he says, they taught you pain, but heaven taught you purpose. Remember that difference, and you'll never need closure again. When heaven begins to restore. My beloved child, the Archangel has watched you sit in silence long enough. The ache has softened, the questions have slowed. That quiet you feel is not absence, it is rebuilding. Heaven always repairs in silence first. What comes next will not arrive as noise or shock, it will come as balance. You are entering the season where restoration begins quietly under your feet. The same ground that once shook with uncertainty will now hold your steps steady. Every prayer that seemed unanswered was actually taking root beneath the surface, waiting for the moment your heart could handle growth without fear. That moment is now. The Archangel whispers, every delay that frustrated you was construction time in heaven. The light you feel pressing gently against your chest is the signal that the building is finished. You may not see the full structure yet, but you will start to notice signs of completion, a relationship that suddenly feels easy, work that starts to flow, health that stabilizes, laughter that returns without reason. Heaven restores through ordinary details. It will use small conversations, simple days, familiar rooms, and turn them into reminders that peace never left, it was only preparing to reappear in form. You will begin to meet people whose energy feels like home, and you'll realize that safety can be quiet and consistent. This time, love will not require you to explain yourself. Child, your restoration is not just emotional, it is layered. Where you were drained, strength returns. Where you were overlooked, attention finds you. Where you lost faith, curiosity blooms again. The Archangel says, "This is the reward of those who waited with integrity." Even your finances will begin to shift, not through sudden luck, but through steady openings. Ideas you ignored months ago will reappear with clarity. What once felt blocked will start to move, not because you pushed, but because the path has finally cleared. Heaven says, when you rest, I can work. You are learning that trust is more productive than worry ever was. There will still be moments when you wonder if it's real. That is natural. After long seasons of uncertainty, peace can feel unfamiliar. When that doubt whispers, close your eyes and breathe, heaven will remind you through the stillness that this is not temporary. The Archangel is not delivering fleeting comfort, he is establishing permanent calm. Look around you now. The people remaining in your life are not random. Each one represents a different form of healing. The loyal friend mirrors safety. The quiet mentor mirrors direction. The kind stranger mirrors hope. Heaven never restores in isolation, it restores through reflection. You are surrounded by mirrors that show how far you've come. Child, let yourself receive. You have spent years surviving, now you must learn how to enjoy. Do not question the ease. Do not sabotage the blessing by expecting loss. Heaven whispers, it is safe now. You are allowed to exhale. As you rest in that truth, you will notice how quickly energy flows back into your spirit. Dreams that felt distant will begin to move closer. Opportunities will respond to your calm instead of your urgency. That is divine rhythm, doors open when hearts are still. The Archangel stands quietly at your side, wings folded, watching the light settle into your eyes. You see, he says softly. Healing was never about becoming someone new. It was about remembering who you were before the pain. You smile because you know he's right. You can feel the difference, your laughter is lighter, your hope steadier, your love wiser. The past no longer holds the power to define you. It has become your foundation, not your prison. Heaven says, walk forward now, not with fear, but with rhythm. You have learned the music of peace. The Archangel raises his hand and the room glows briefly. Around you, the air feels softer, as if the universe itself has been rewound to a kinder frequency. You realize that you are no longer waiting for closure, you are already living it. And somewhere above, the gentle voice of heaven murmurs, everything they took from you, I have already returned, only this time, it's wrapped in wisdom. The overflow of light. My beloved child, you no longer live only in your own story. The light that settled inside you after the storm has begun to travel outward, finding its way into the lives that brush against yours. Heaven planned it this way. When healing finishes its first work inside one heart, it starts its second work through compassion. The Archangel stands close as you move through ordinary days. Each small kindness you show is multiplied. When you listen without interrupting, when you smile at someone who looks unseen, when you forgive quietly, those gestures rise into the same river of peace that once saved you. Heaven whispers, this is how blessing grows, never in speeches, always in touch. You will start to feel it as warmth in unexpected places. A conversation that could have turned sharp will dissolve into understanding. A worry that once kept you awake will resolve itself before night. The energy around you responds differently now because you respond differently to it. You are not pushing, you are guiding. Your calm has become instruction to the world. Child, the Archangel wants you to know that none of this light is wasted. The moments you think of as small, checking on a neighbor, choosing patience instead of pride, offering comfort instead of judgment, these are the ways heaven measures success. Each act becomes a seed that another soul will stumble upon when they need it most. You were not healed so that you could hide. You were healed so that you could reflect. Heaven never keeps restored hearts behind closed doors. It places them where broken ones can see. And though you may never know the names of those you reach, heaven keeps the record. The Archangel whispers, the quiet ones change the most. Your own world will continue to bloom. Work will hold meaning again. Conversations will sound lighter. You will find yourself drawn to learning, to growing, to creating beauty wherever you are. Even the past begins to serve you, it becomes your vocabulary of empathy. You can recognize pain without being pulled into it. That is mastery of the spirit. Heaven says, you are now trusted with peace as others are trusted with power. The divine does not send you to preach, it sends you to embody. When people stand near you, they will sense that it is safe to breathe. That safety is the mark of heaven on a human life. The Archangel shows you something, faint outlines of people you will meet. Some will arrive with laughter, others with tears, but all of them will be drawn by the same current of calm that now surrounds you. You will not need to plan what to say, your presence will do the speaking. Sometimes you will see change instantly, other times you will not see it at all. Either way, heaven assures you that light never misses its mark. And as you continue to walk, the world itself begins to look different. The colors seem richer, the silence less threatening, the future less heavy. That is what happens when the inner landscape heals, the outer one rearranges to match it. You are not escaping life, you are finally in rhythm with it. The Archangel bends close one last time and says softly, remember, peace is not fragile. It is your inheritance. When you forget, return to silence. Heaven speaks best there. You close your eyes, and the stillness feels familiar, almost like home. The tears that form are not sorrow, they are release. Heaven has fulfilled its promise. The light that once came to rescue you now moves freely through you, touching everything you touch. Somewhere in that stillness, a final whisper rises. This is what healing sounds like when it finishes its song. The circle of grace. My beloved child, the Archangel stands at the edge of dawn. The light that once seemed distant now stretches all around you. Heaven does not end its stories with applause, it ends them with understanding. What began as confusion has become wisdom. The same heart that trembled now moves in rhythm with peace itself. You will notice that life has become slower but fuller. The hours no longer chase you. You wake with gratitude before you remember why. That is heaven's final gift, the return of simple joy. You no longer need dramatic signs or loud answers, you trust the quiet. The wind through the trees, the hum of a morning street, the way light rests on ordinary things, each one is a conversation with the divine. The Archangel whispers, "You once prayed for rescue. Now you live as rescue." Wherever you go, anxiety calms. People who were restless begin to breathe. You carry peace the way others carry scent, without effort, without announcement. That is the reward of healing, to become what once saved you. Child, this is not an ending that closes, it's an ending that continues. The love you learned, the forgiveness you practiced, the calm you built, all of it will outlive you. It will travel through the people you touched, through stories you'll never hear, through moments that unfold long after your own. Heaven calls this legacy. The Archangel opens his hand, a single spark of light floats toward you and settles over your heart. This, he says, is your covenant. Peace that cannot be taken, purpose that cannot be lost. Heaven speaks once more, steady and certain. Walk gently. Keep listening. Whenever you wonder if I'm near, remember this feeling. You are not waiting for miracles anymore, you are one. The world around you brightens as the angel fades into the morning. There is no sadness, only completion. You breathe, and the breath itself feels like prayer. Whisper softly to yourself, "I am whole, I am protected, I am light." And let the silence that follows be the proof that heaven never really stops speaking, it simply speaks through.